My name's Sarah Jane Crawford. I'm an IT project manager at Network Rail. I came into IT a bit of a roundabout way really. So my A-levels were very random. I did sociology, psychology, history and English. Then decided that I really liked psychology and was really interested in philosophy. So I went and did a joint honours in psychology and philosophy at Leeds University. I did get to my third year, had a bit of a panic and realised I didn't want to be a psychologist or a philosopher, so I didn't really know what else to do. So I had a good scope around at grad schemes and master's schemes and found the Network Rail funded programme and project management masters. Really like the idea of project management. I've always been quite bossy, so worked quite well. But then I could go into either infrastructure projects, which is kind of construction, railway based side, or I could go into IT. So I didn't really know which one to pick. I didn't really have a preference beforehand. So I kind of looked at a couple of factors and IT kind of really stood out to me. So I went and did the IT version, which meant I did a full year at Warwick doing a master's and then onto a job as an IT project manager the next year. So I've started that about a year and a half ago now. So I didn't either plan to get into IT, but now I really, really enjoy it. I'm a massive advocate for getting people into IT because I lucked into it. So. Well, to be honest, I really like the people and the communication side. So as a project manager, I get to deal with loads of different types of people. And because I'm not typically technology focused, I get to deal with loads of different people I wouldn't get to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And there's also loads of different things to manage. So you have the upside of technology constantly changing, and you also have the new people that you've got to work with alongside trying to get stuff done and trying to deliver on time to money and all that kind of important stuff. So it gives a really good dynamic to your project work.
Give me a couple of examples of the projects that you've been working on.
One of the biggest projects I've been working on is a project called Digital Footfall. The plan is to install thermal imaging cameras into all of our managed stations. So we've got 15 of our biggest stations all the way down from London all the way up to Edinburgh. And the cameras are really quite specialist, so they can take thermal counts of everyone walking through the station. If you imagine, that can be quite a lot of people. So through I think through Paddington there's 118 million last year, so it's quite a lot of people to count through on a daily basis. So it can be quite a specialist technology that I've got to deal with, and also the day-to-day challenges of working on the railway and in stations. So it's been a really, really interesting project. So I didn't think there was anything special about working in the IT department at Network Rail, but apparently there is. The national average of the amount of women working in IT is 17%, and we're closer to 35%. So that's nearly double the amount of average. We've also got a really high amount of women on our senior leadership team. So there's a team of 8 people and 4 of them are women, all in quite powerful roles with quite a lot of people reporting into them. There's also a lot of women filtered down in the lower roles. So I'm surrounded by really powerful, important women all day, every day, which really does empower you, and you don't realise it. It must be quite subconscious, and it's really a nice cultural thing to have to go into an industry where women are higher than you and you've got role models and you've got people to aspire to. So it's a very big cultural shift to the other IT industries that are out there. You can do anything within the IT industry. I think that's the really important part. So if you do like coding, you can be a coder. If you do like developing, you can be a developer. But if you also like dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, you can be a project manager. You can also, if you're really creative, you can be a games developer and draw and design things by hand and then make it into reality. You can also do hardware. You can do anything within the IT industry. So I don't know why it's not on more people's radar. No matter what your skill set is, you will find a job. And in the last 20 years, jobs don't even exist anymore that did, and jobs that didn't exist 20 years ago do now. So if you don't think there's something interesting, make your own job, find a niche for yourself. You can do whatever you want within the IT industry. And I think that's a really important message that just isn't really being shared. Well, I think it comes down to the stereotypes really, because if I think of a geek, I think of a male geek. And if I think of IT, I think of geeks. So I immediately go to male geeks being the sole people that work in IT. And I know that's not the case now, and I don't barely work with any geeks or any male geeks, and there are women geeks. So it just shows that there are any types of people working within this industry. So I think that puts people off. It's not the fashion, it's not sexy, it's not the fashion industry, it's not retail, it's nothing. But you can work in all of those industries in an IT job. So that's, I think, one of the important parts as well. First day job, it was finish masters Friday, start as an IT project manager on the Monday, and I really did think I was going into an environment of people doing things that I didn't know about, talking in a language I didn't understand and trying to get me to do things I didn't know, and that is just not the case. There is a learning curve, but it's like that with any job, no matter what industry you go into, but everyone speaks English, so it's fine. They're all speaking normal day-to-day English, and if you don't understand what they're saying, you have the right to say, what are you saying? Because they're maybe not understanding it themselves. So there will be no barriers that you can't overcome within the IT industry.
I mean, what do you think might help more young women understand?
Well, that ties into a competition that we've ran to get more girls aged 16 to 18 interested in IT. That was a specific aim of our competition, so there was a prize of £9,000 to go towards their university sponsorship. But the underlying theme was this awareness campaign. We went to over 50 schools, speaking to over 1,000 kids of both boys and girls, and the theme of the presentation was IT, just talking about general IT. If you've got a list of 10 things when you're 18 and you're going to university, which you should only have one thing that you've ever wanted to do. If you've got a list of 10 things, just put IT on there. Most people don't even think to put it on that list. We don't want you to suddenly have a dying need to work in IT and they have no other industry that you're interested in. We just want it to be on a normal list. If you go to careers events, you're surrounded by journalists, lawyers, fashion, beauty, all the typical industries, no real niches, no engineers, no scientists, no mathematicians, no technology people, because it means it's not on people's lists. They just haven't got any exposure to it. So it comes from school level, I think, careers advice. It's difficult for teachers to give careers advice as they've only ever been teachers. So to get external people in from companies to really talk passionately about what they do and give an actual day-to-day representation of the IT industry or whatever industry they're trying to promote is, I think, really, really key. Everyone was really surprised when you tell them you're an IT project manager. So I'm like, what? How can you do that with the degree that you did and you don't wear glasses and you actually look like you're getting some sunlight sometimes? So it feels like I shouldn't work there in people's eyes, and that's what you're trying to dispel, that just kind of perception.